Good morning to my peeps. Welcome to your Saturday morning, early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum, America's kick-ass coach and psychologist, here with some more words of wisdom on taking the war out of our words. The Art of Powerful Non-Defensive Communication by Sharon Ellison that we have been working on. And I'm going to do two little sections today, but just give everybody a little moment here to wake up and stretch and join me here on Facebook. Sorry, Facebook. Welcome to the two of you who are here. I'm assuming one is Cindy. We'll see. Yep, there's my wave. Good morning, good morning. And Carolyn, good morning. And one more person is on already too. So glad you are all here. And it's a beautiful morning out there. It was very still and a little bit of snow, but it was that fluffy white stuff that is just sparkly and gorgeous. Good morning, Bobby. Welcome. Thank you for yesterday's work with me. It was very helpful. So I'm excited to move things forward. So again, we have a little bit more on taking the war out of our words. And this is actually kind of an interesting little section. It's giving you several more options in terms of how to question such that someone can really ponder it and think about it and then respond to you rather than react. So, questions that compare and contrast. We are on page 111. Ooh, 111. There we go. Get a little bit of juju going here. This is good. Questions that compare and contrast. Questions that address the opposite side of the coin often help people to expose more facets of their viewpoint and may spontaneously stimulate them to gain a more balanced perspective. And I'm going to suggest it's not just the either or, this or that stuff anymore. We've moved forward, haven't we? So now we can consider many options. But the either or part of this can then move us into the and part of this. When a friend says, "You haven't called for so long, I thought you didn't care about me anymore," we might ask, "Do you believe that it's possible that I might not call and still care about you?" So we're turning that one side of the coin, we're pointing out the other side of the coin, and putting the and in the middle. So, do you believe that it's possible that I might not call and still care about you? The friend can now consider a viewpoint that is opposite to the one just expressed and decide what to think. And, of course the friend's going to say, well, yeah, of course I know you still care. It was just a figment of speech or whatever. But, good morning, Diane. When we use those kinds of speech patterns, they set us up for certain kinds of feelings, don't they? We're going to feel bereft that our friend hasn't called us instead of considering, and what's another option there? I could pick up the phone and call my friend. How about that? So oftentimes there's multiple options, but when we state something that way, "You haven't called in so long, I thought you didn't care anymore," we've erased the giant board of options down to just one. You must call me, and then I will feel cared for. All right. Let's see. Often when we are feeling one way about an issue or a person, we forget the other side of the picture. Yeah, I can pick up the phone too. Sometimes we can ask several questions about opposites based on one sentence a person says. In response to the comment, "Some men are cold and unemotional," we might ask, "Do you think some men are warm? And do you think some women might be cold?" So two different ways to go about it. Good morning, Susan. Glad you are here. Two different ways to go about it, but it makes the point. Because many of us, I'm as guilty as the next person, say something as if it's fact, when in fact it might not even be our opinion all the time. In this moment, because I'm feeling curmudgeonly, I say this thing, but tomorrow I'm feeling good, and that thought is not at all in my mind, right? But if I've said it to somebody, they may start thinking, yeah, that Bonnie, she's quite the curmudgeon. So that's the asking about the opposites. And then this next section is asking about contradictions. Because oftentimes we'll put things out there that kind of don't make sense. And if someone doesn't point it out to us, we're not going to get it. We're not going to hear it. Asking about contradictions. We can also ask the other person to explain the relationship between two factors that seem contradictory to us. There are two primary ways to ask this question. So those of you who have been making notes about ways to do this, the rubber hitting the road, what do I actually say? Here are two more to add to your list. First one is, what is the relationship between A and B? So you're querying, help me understand how these two things go together in your mind. Okay? What is the relationship between A and B? You could even ask that. Help me understand how these two things go together. And the second one is, given A, why B? So this is especially effective when people want to hedge and respond in a way that does not answer our question. If we ask a political candidate how a proposed bill will affect Social Security, the reply may be a platitude about owing a great debt to our senior citizens and doing all we can to help them. Since this answer does not address our question, we could ask, how does your comment about appreciating senior citizens relate to my question about the effect of your proposal on Social Security? The question brings the focus back to the issue we initially raised. So, and again, if the person wants to hedge, they oftentimes aren't too happy about this question. But as human beings, as herd animals, we need to be able to hold each other accountable for what we say and what we do. And if what we say and what we do don't match, hopefully someone is able to say, I'm confused. You're saying this, but I see you doing that. Help me understand. Okay? Not only can we hold people accountable for what they say or do, we can also gain valuable information that is often lodged in the cracks of contradictions and might otherwise stay hidden. While Sylviette worked on her thesis all weekend long, Cliff had helped by taking care of the meals and even doing some editing. The following week, when he asked her to take a break for dinner, she replied that she wanted to eat at her desk and keep working. Irritated, Cliff said, "You never take a break." Okay, slip number one, he put the word never in there. But he was irritated, so. And "You never support my work on my thesis," Sylviette snapped back. Cliff was stunned by this response. He had helped her in many ways over a period of months. He silently withdrew and tried to think of how he could effectively ask Sylviette about what she had said. Later in the evening, the following conversation took place. Cliff, given that I helped you edit your thesis all weekend, what made you say that I never support you? First of all, I would probably get rid of the word all in there because it can be a little bit easy to emphasize that all. Given that I helped you edit your thesis all weekend. So I might say, given that I helped you edit your thesis this weekend, what made you say that I never support you? Sylviette, well, you did help me, but every time I asked you to go over another section, you said okay in a tone that would make Eeyore seem happy by comparison. Okay, so she got a little sarcastic there. That probably could be deleted also, but we're human, we do this stuff, right? Cliff, oh, thinking about her answer. I guess it would have looked that way to you. I don't like to edit, even though I'm good at it. The funny part is I volunteered to edit it because of how much I do want to support you. Instead of feeling alienated, they began to feel much closer, which eased their work on the thesis. Ding, ding, ding. A word of caution. I suggest that anyone that tends toward aggressiveness be careful in using the given A, Y, B format, or possibly choose a different one. That'd be me. When I'm trying to make my point, I can come off like an attorney. So I would probably forego the given this, how about that one, and I would probably use the other one. What is the relationship between A and B? So he could have said there, given that I helped you with your thesis this weekend, what's the relationship between that and you saying that I never help you? More quizzical, more puzzled, not watch the push in your voice because it's really easy to slide into that. So this given A, Y, B format, if not asked in a way that is clearly, authentically curious, this format can sound very accusatory or become entrapping. Well, how come? Because the question goes to the heart of any discrepancy, we can easily use this format to prove our own point instead of to gather information. So yeah, again, that'd probably be one I'd steer clear of, just because when I'm trying to make a point, this is going to become a hammer instead of a surgical instrument. Okay? It would have been easy for Cliff to have put a lot of emotion and judgment into his question. Given that I helped you all weekend, why are you saying I don't support you? Used carefully, this format can help people examine discrepancies of which they are unaware, an exploration that can result in personal growth. So here's another story. Brad. Brad was considering taking an excellent job in a city about 50 miles from where his father lived. But he felt ambivalent because he didn't want his father to be alone. A close friend finally asked him, "Given that your father never sees you unless you make it happen, what is making you so worried that he will feel alone?" Again, how you ask the question is important. You don't want to put that edge in there about judging his father, just describing what is the case. Unless Brad reaches out, his dad doesn't engage. Brad knew his father hardly ever called or initiated getting together. They talked only when Brad phoned or arranged for them to visit. Let's see, which he could do as easily from 50 miles away as across town. As he wondered why he worried about his father being alone under these circumstances, Brad realized that he was bothered by his own fear of becoming disconnected and was projecting that fear onto his dad. With this information, he was able to begin some inner work he had previously avoided, dealing with the loss he felt because of having an absentee father. So, again, when we can be kind and loving about asking the questions we want to ask, it can help the people we're asking grow. So, if these are people that you care about, hopefully that gives you some incentive to ask the questions in a way that they can consider. Again, when we've already worked up a head of steam, when we're already doing battle with each other, it can be hard to shift gears like this. I'm gonna give you all permission that if you're in that kind of a energy and you're having that hard time stepping back, saying, wait a minute, let's come at this a little differently, take a break. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to go get a cup of coffee. I'm going to go take a walk. Whatever it is, get yourself a break so that you can regroup a bit and come back at this thing. To me, the important thing is if you say, let's take a break from this and we'll come back to it shortly, you need to come back to it shortly. You can't not show up because you've said you're coming back. The other person may be perfectly happy if you don't come back and deal with it because they don't want to deal with it either. But that doesn't get us anywhere. So, what we've learned today, just to recap, is asking questions that compare and contrast. When someone makes a point that's one end of the continuum, we can, with curiosity, ask questions about the other end of the continuum. So if someone says, all men are jerks, we can ask about the other end of the continuum, which could be, well, are there any women who are jerks? Are there men who might be jerky sometimes but not jerky all the time? Are there some men who are really nice? Asking those questions, and then the person can rant and rave. Yes, not all men are jerks, just Bill was a jerk today for an hour, whatever. And then asking about contradictions. What is the relationship between A and B if they don't fit together in your mind? Can you tell me how A and B go together? I'm not quite getting it. I'm confused. I like starting some things with I'm confused. I'm confused. How does A hold and B hold also? Help me understand how they both exist, okay? Just asking the question, being curious, etc. The person might snap back at you because they're still in a funk. Give them a little time and then see if they can come back at it and address it in a more appropriate way. So that's it for today. I'd like you to practice those ways of doing it. given A, explain B, or the relationship between A and B, etc., and the contrast thing. Could it be this? Might it be that? Is it possible that? However you want to do that. The more we practice this stuff, the more adequate we're going to get at it. I'm not going to say we're going to be fabulous. We just need to be putting forth the effort and helping other people see we're putting forth the effort. And hopefully they then rise to the occasion also. Have an awesome day. We'll see you again tomorrow. Remember, you are capable of far more than you think you are. Bye-bye.